This is Loretta Campos presenting my effective relationship building PowerPoint presentation for Counseling 6328, Premarital Counseling and Marital Enrichment for Dr. Kevin Weisenberg, Houston Christian University. According to Van Epp, there are a few premarital predictors of a happy marriage. The first being compatibility. This is potentially the balance between the similarities and differences in the individuals, in their personalities, their values, and their interests, which basically boils down to, are they able to have cohesion between the two? The second would be relationship skills. In this, we're looking for whether the individuals are able to communicate in a healthy way. Are they able to uh, feel comfortable enough to be open with one another? And are they able to, during times of conflict, manage themselves and find a solution, a healthy solution? The next is patterns. This would be patterns from other relationships. In this, each individual, of course, has had previous relationships, they've had their issues, and whether they believe it or not, those issues can influence the current dynamic which they are in. So, in this, we're just looking to see if the individuals are self aware. Are they able to be mindful of their shortcomings on things that didn't quite serve them well in the previous relationship dynamics? And if they're able to keep that in mind in order to not have that influence the current relationship dynamics. Next, we have family patterns um, and backgrounds. This basically boils down to the family roles and the interactions that are in between the family members. Um, I find that this is very important in the fact that each family is and can have a huge influence on a marriage, on the marriage between the two individuals. And so it is important to keep that in mind that that too will influence your future dynamic. Lastly, we have character and integrity, or maybe their conscious traits. Um, this final point really regards the emotional health and maturity of the two individuals. Are they able to, when it all comes down to it, are they able to find a similar ground and understand that they're working as a team, as a single unit, versus working against each other? And this is something to greatly consider when seeking, or actually predicting, excuse me, a happy marriage.
Van Epp suggests that we consider the premarital predictors of a happy marriage and keep that in mind. But he also expands on the difference between head knowledge versus heart knowledge. Head knowledge is known as facts or theories that are understood in the individual's mind, which, for an example, a best example would be information that we could catalog from a book, data, the way that our mind processes, versus heart knowledge, which is knowledge that has been experienced and felt within one's heart, which pertains to the individual's experience and how it made them feel, whether positive or negative.
The relationship attachment model, also known as the RAM plan, portrays the different forces that create bonds in relationships. This model is used to assess relationships, and it's very helpful in visualizing the dynamics in that relationships and how they can often change. This model is comprised of five dynamics: know, trust, rely, commit, and sex, which are all major contributions to the bond in which the individuals develop.
Now that we've discussed the relationship attachment model and the head knowledge versus heart knowledge, we must use our discernment in order to recognize the red flags in the relationship. One could say that some red flags would be consistently crossing boundaries, an individual's reluctance to seek change, closed mindedness, a lack of emotional maturity and stability, and lastly, a hindrance of the relationship and its natural growth. Now that we've discussed the RAM model and qualities that we should look for and we should not look for in a relationship, it's time to circle back to ourselves. When seeking a healthy relationship, must first remember that it takes two. Healthy people love in healthy ways, just the same that unhealthy people love in unhealthy ways. The three most important things to remember are to work on being the best version of yourself. Self improvement is a great quality of personhood because that will eventually merge into your relationship. The individual must try to avoid becoming a jerk in the pursuit of avoiding one. Recognizing your own needs. And recognizing your own needs and giving transparency to your partner, you're giving them the capacity to meet you where you are currently at. You have to be mindful that your own traumas are unmet needs, and in order to avoid that from affecting the current relationship dynamic, you must first recognize this in yourself. Lastly, you are what you attract. And although we are doing our best to avoid falling in love with the jerk, we do have to remember that you are what you attract. And if you want to attract a great partner, you then must first become a great partner. The final food for thought. In learning to decipher what your partner will be like as a spouse, by considering the consistency between the three major sources of patterns or relational scripts. The three major areas that should be compared for consistency are the patterns of your partner's conscious in your relationship, the patterns in your partner's family background, and the patterns of your partner's relationship to others, especially previous romantic partners. Don't forget that without a healthy conscious, relationship skills can become manipulative and self serving. The conscious monitors a person's thoughts, words, and actions according to an internal code of values and beliefs. You will get a glimpse or clues by watching how your partner handles their feelings of guilt and admits to being wrong. In using the trilogy of consistency, an individual is able to spot red flags easy. Now remember that to err is to be human, and of course, every experience and situation is not the same. So it really is determined by your comfort level with your partner, whether the situation or the individual is a victim of their circumstance, or if this is a unhealthy pattern that is starting to affect the relationship.